Good evening, you guys.
Hello and welcome to the September 30th Northfield Select Board meeting. We're calling this meeting to order at 6:01, and we're starting off with Senator Joe Comerford with a legislative update and a discussion about municipal infrastructure priorities, all the ones that all the sewer commission, your team, the governor's office, all the other legislative offices. Who else am I forgetting? The building committee. I just want to make sure everybody gets their due, but it's been a team effort on some of these huge things. So I thought it would make sense to just recap on the water and the sewer and your thoughts on that, because I know that's been a huge effort over the years for everyone.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm happy to have questions and comments, and I can also offer a few other updates if there's time.
Yep.
So thank you.
Thank you for coming.
For allowing me to come and talk with you. I just want to say it's just such a privilege to represent Northfield in partnership with Rep. Whips. And, this is a stellar town. The more I get to know your great town administrator, the great members of the select board and town government, it is just so clear that there are so many people in Northfield pushing and pulling for this great place. So thank you for letting me continue to serve you. And I can't believe it's year 7. Feels bananas to me.
Oh my.
Sometimes it feels like
That
7
went by
minutes.
fast.
Sometimes, yeah, it feels like 75 years. But anyway, I will. So as you said, right, we've been, Northfield's really thrown down on water sewer. And I'm really happy to also make that a priority with Elena Cohen, who's our district director.
Mm-hmm.
So as you know, we had a little summit in this very room, to continue to try to make progress this summer, because we had a group meeting earlier in the year, and I think the problems are so interconnected and so complex. It really does take an all of government, and you said it well, I think, Chair. It's the state folks, it's the governor's folks, it's the federal folks, it's all of the industry people who you're pulling in, and then of course it's led by the town. So out of that meeting in August, one of our takeaways was to try to figure out the filtration issue. And we received news, I'm sure this is known to the town.
It's actually like we just
got it?
Monday.
Okay.
So
We received news on Friday that DEP has reinstated the filtration waiver for the East Northfield Water Company's Grandin Reservoir. And that is due to great advocacy. I was happy to join you, and it gives us a bit of breathing room together to be able to make the advances that I know Northfield wants to make. And I'm grateful for DEP's folks. We had a robust conversation about the ways in which Northfield is just different, right? Smaller system, leaner budget, wanting DEP to really think outside the box with Northfield about a path forward. So this feels like a yes from DEP, right? Yes, we're going to work in this direction. I'm also really happy in the sewer category to say that one of the things that came out of the work was, and kudos to Andrea, the One Stop for Growth, which is a combined grant program at the state. The Rural Development Fund has issued a $240,000 grant for the electrical upgrades.
Sewer commission chair in the back there.
There you go. Yes. That was another piece of this puzzle. So what I see is all these different levers being pulled and pushed by Northfield. I'm happy to join you. And the kind of unified shoving is making a difference, right? And these are really complex problems. And you are finding a path forward. And I think you're making a case to the state why both with regard to water and with regard to sewer and their interconnectivity, that Northfield's development and continued health depends on the state really recognizing what Northfield needs and deserves. So I think these are, this is not the whole thing, right? These are some nice steps forward, but it feels like it's progress. Deserved progress for the town.
it's fantastic news on both fronts. I was just speechless. That's what I told Elena, and I just want to thank your Western Mass Director, Elena Cohen, for all of her help, because she's a big force behind the pushing everybody forward.
She is really good.
In her nice way. On the waiver we were talking about, it's such great news because it takes that big,
The pressure, yeah.
right, it just takes that big problem that we just talked about at the last select board meeting and when we spoke with you back in August. It just takes that off the table. So now we can definitely move forward. And I keep using the sports metaphor of football. It's like we got a few yards at a time, and now it just feels like a field goal or a touchdown. I don't know which, but it feels like a dramatic, shot forward. In talking with Elena, we thought it might make sense to continue the discussion with Mass DEP to understand going forward and just setting up a really proactive relationship along the lines of what sewer has been doing, so that we're not reacting to something. We know what their concerns are on presumably other fronts now, but also what the waiver, if there's
What's behind the waiver?
what's behind the waiver,
yeah.
and do we need to keep that on the radar going forward?
So
I'm
let's make
assuming
that one
yes.
of my takeaways from
Yeah.
tonight, if that's okay.
Yeah.
There's also steps that have to be taken in order to transfer the license. So meeting with DEP to talk about
Exactly.
those steps would probably
Yeah.
Exactly,
be very
right.
Yeah.
important. I know that the district commissioners, Tim Cosgrove being one, have been involved in that too.
Pretty pumped too, so
Okay.
to speak.
So
Yeah.
relative to the waiver and the transferring of the license, we'll set up a call with DEP. We'll work with you, Andrea, and get the right
Yeah.
folks in
Yeah.
From the town.
Yeah, we can't thank you and Elena enough, especially for the pep talks too. I think that's been really helpful. Does the board have any questions about either of the water or sewer? This just came in like in the last, I don't know, the sewer one was just like a phone call a few hours ago. So
Yeah.
we're kind of stunned and excited all at the same time.
Yeah, we had a little bit of advance notice, but we were sworn to secrecy just because we were bugging the state to understand. Because
Yeah.
we knew the stakes were high for Northfield,
Right.
frankly.
And we know funding's not always going to be consistent too, so we really appreciate Ann Goby and her team.
I was gonna say,
She's been
yeah.
another one who's been a huge supporter for all the out of her rural development fund. It's, can't
It's
say enough
really
good
a big
things.
deal.
Yeah. Let's see, also, moving on to, or are there any other questions about water and sewer? That sounds good.
No, that's great.
Yeah, so, public safety infrastructure, I know your specific bill, 1650 is coming up, and we're also continuing to be hard at work. I just talked to the fire chief today,
On the regionalization.
and he's been working on a fire building solution that he's hoping to kind of take the wraps off in the next few weeks. But it's just preliminary at this point, but he's been making some great progress with one of his committee members.
That's great.
The other thing is EMS. We had a recommendation from the building committee, and that's in the care of the select board at the moment. But the whole funding of buildings in general is, as you know, has been a major concern for people. The effect on taxes, the effect on, even though the town doesn't have any debt, people still get nervous about when they hear things like debt. So do you want to talk a little bit about that bill
Sure.
and what it does? Because
Sure.
I know it's coming, the hearing's coming up, right?
It is, and the governor also filed the Municipal Empowerment Act, which, I actually like a great deal of it, and I think it's a really important bill, and this could go right in there. And
Okay.
it was a question to me as to why it wasn't in there, except, we also have to do our work in the legislature. But I did hear that the issue of municipal building fund was one of the, if not the top thing that the lieutenant governor heard when she was out listening, when she was first in office. And I know that, Director Goby totally gets this. The bill that I have, and I filed this with Rep. Natalie Blais, sets up a municipal building fund not dissimilar to the MBLC or the MSBA. It's a little leaner in terms of infrastructure. Not that fire stations and police stations and DPW salt sheds or town halls aren't complex projects, but we are, we're aware that communities want and deserve some autonomy when designing these projects. So this is a little bit of a hands-off structure, but it would provide a similar idea, which would be a portion of the funding for communities. So it's a fund. So it's not a loan, it's a grant. And, it's been reported favorably since I introduced it. And I do think this is the year for it. So we're going to push really hard. A piece of work that if the town decided, the select board decided, could be to send in testimony or decide someone's going to testify and talk about just what you said in that quick update, Chair, listen, this is what's going on, in Northfield. You could also advocate with Senate leadership directly. You could send your testimony to the Senate President, to the Speaker of the House. I'm sure Natalie would say this would be a good idea. When the bill gets put into the Municipal Empowerment Act or passed, you could advocate with the governor and lieutenant governor using that same testimony. So I could imagine it being used many different ways. But it is, it's critical. The one thing that I will, so there's really no opponent to it. The MMA is behind it and pushing, STAM is behind it and pushing. These are good things. The truth is that we're in perilous times now financially. The state just learned today that we're projecting to be about $640 million down because of the federal bill that passed in Washington, down in revenue. So it has tax implications for us. And I'm not saying anything should be off the table. We have to keep pushing forward as a state, with or without a federal partner. But it is something just for all of us. And I know that towns understand this more than the legislature by far, given how much you're juggling. But it is something that, we're aware of. But it is a priority bill for me because it's a priority bill for communities, and I welcome your engagement. And the sweet spot for legislators is you tell a story, right? It opens a heart, and then you tell, you give a fact. Could be Northfield's population and your annual budget, and ask, how the heck are you supposed to, how are you supposed to build, another building, right? And all you're juggling and keeping afloat, which is considerable.
Or build all the buildings at once, basically, right? Because everything's kind of coming, the water, the sewer, the buildings, and the school, everything's kind of coming together all at once, and that's hard.
Exactly.
There's a narrative for that to be, a lot of this is delayed maintenance, and the reason it's been delayed is because we don't have money, right? And
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It's a catch-22 for sure.
It's absolutely true, right? There's a town I represent, I won't name it, but I use the story all the time, right? It doesn't have a DPW building. And so it gets grants for these big machines. It gets the machines and then they sit outside in the winter, right? And the machines deteriorate. And it's not dissimilar, right? If some mold happens or windows need replacing, it begins to wear in that disproportionate way. The deferred maintenance is a real thing.
Yeah.
Well, we had done, the building committee, I did a letter of testimony back the first time it was going through.
You can just
public.
recycle that.
So that's what I'm thinking, I can recycle that, and if the select board is willing, I'm more than happy to do the virtual testimony again. I think it's before the public service committee, if I recall.
Yeah.
And I just did the testimony for our fire chief's extension, so.
That's great.
Feeling a little bit more comfortable with the procedures to talk to the committee. So
That's great.
if the committee's open, I'll just resubmit what we submitted for the building committee. It was a story about
excellent.
all the buildings and Skip's efforts over time.
It was excellent.
Yeah, so I can certainly recycle that if that's, I'm just
That would
looking at
be
everything.
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm up,
Yeah.
I'm up for
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
All right.
I think whenever we can recycle, let's please do.
Well, now I have like a store of letters that I can kind of.
And there's so much effort to do it well, and then why not just, I'm doing grants myself and.
Right. So you take your pieces and then you put them in
Yeah.
the different letters, and the story's all the same. So we'll work on that. So, I know with the fire shed that houses our rescue truck, that has been mouse infested for years. It's just hard to get away from that, and so it can be something as as tricky as not having mice in your vehicles over time, or looking, eating your equipment or something. And it's been like one of those intractable problems, but it's not the only reason you would replace the building. But that plus the old building and the fact that the first floor can't sustain the weight of fire trucks is, when you put those all together, I can make a compelling narrative in front of the committee without a problem.
Absolutely.
I can
And
talk about that.
I don't think my Boston colleagues understand in the way that they're beginning to, right? I do believe we're trying to level the playing field east-west. We're trying to bring us closer together. We have a governor who cares about this. The delegations in the West and North Central is working really hard to be clear storytellers ourselves, clear, fighters, unified fighters. And I do think that when our community would say such a thing, right, like you have a fire station that might not be able to bear the weight of a fire truck, I think that's going to, that people's minds go, what? What's that about?
How does that work?
Out in Boston, that's not their problem. They have different problems than us, but they just don't, it helps them understand the complexity of what Northfield's dealing with, or rural communities are dealing with.
Yeah, yep. The first thing I explained to them when I did the one for Skip was just where Northfield was.
Yeah.
To give them a sense of, especially when it comes to fire, because of mutual aid, we're working quite closely with Vermont and New Hampshire, as well as our neighboring towns in Massachusetts.
Absolutely.
So just little facts like that can help. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I have a question about something that you mentioned, because you mentioned the Municipal Empowerment Act. And one of the things we've been talking about solar, and whether the municipalities are allowed to say no, and that the state was going to overreach them. So there's that question about municipal empowerment. And also when we're talking, the reason that it came up in my mind was we were talking about fire. And one of the things that we've heard about the solar panels is that there needs to be special fire equipment. And so when we're being asked to put these solar situations in, and we don't have the fire equipment to keep our community safe, if we're being forced to do that, will there be subsidies or grants or whatever to get that fire equipment? Because it seems like asking us to take on a danger when we don't have the situation to protect our citizens. You know what I'm talking
Totally.
about?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So the Municipal Empowerment Act is, it may sound different than it is.
Okay.
It's much more about helping communities with regulation, and also giving communities options to do local option meals taxes, for example, or things like that.
Excise taxes.
Different excise taxes. So it and it has different pieces, like actually really tackling the school bus problem that we have, right, where we don't get enough bids on contracts. So it's a very practical, very long bill. But it's really sort of everything probably that the MMA and STEM has talked to the administration about. They've compiled it. So it's allowing the creation of regional boards of assessors, creating new property tax exemptions for seniors that are opt-in, easing procurement of snow hauling services, expediting the removal of double poles. Like you name it, in all the things that your departments are working on, there's probably a piece of it in there. So, but you just talked about solar, and so there was, last session, there was a bill on solar siting passed. And we worked really hard on that because while I believe in a green future, I really don't also want our communities to get rolled, frankly.
Yes.
And these are big multinational corporations, and it's really hard to compete. And many of your neighbors, as you probably are following, are some test cases, like Wendell, for these big multinational corporations coming in and delivering a brief, that's really literally this high of paper, and then, Wendell's volunteer boards, what are they going to do with this, right? That we're outmatched. Not because we're not good people out here,
I
it's
get it,
just that
yeah.
they have, legions of lawyers, and we do not. So the bill takes great pains, the one that was just passed, to do intervenor by right status for towns. So by right, technical assistance funded by the state, a safety valve for communities if you need more time. So there's these numbers of things that really, actually, this was my whole focus. Both working with the Gov's team before the bill came and then working with amendments on with our team. It is rolling out right now. They're taking comment. So maybe you've heard from Elena about different, or Jared on our team. We're certainly weighing in on the comment. There's draft regulations. We want them to get a little bit sharper for communities. So I think this is critical. You talked about, for example, different fire or public safety needs. The solar panels, we understand, are not as much of a concern as battery storage. And that's real. Now, you may hear from battery storage companies, who are not the devil. We need battery storage on the grid. You may hear that there are different kinds of battery storage facilities now. It's not as much of a risk. I'm not here to say one thing or another, right? Because it would depend on the company, but the state does have to embrace, and they are now, how much there needs to be known about negotiating with this company, or a company, and then what kind of real infrastructure is needed on the part of the town. This is real. And the job of this bill is to level the playing field. So they've hired a person in who will be the ombudsperson, who will be a contact for the town, and then, of course, you have us, right? And we've been pretty hands-on in other communities. Convening meetings with the company that wants to come in, asking state folks to come in and look at the deal. There's also council on pilot. What's a fair pilot? The ranges are wild, right? What kind of revenue could come in as a result of this? You should know.
Yeah.
You should get to say yourselves. And so we will stay involved here. But we made some good advances in the last bill. And with municipalities, small municipalities in mind.
Well, I think, to dovetail on that, to get the expertise of other towns who might be really farther ahead on some issue of a very complex structure, that whole regional approach sometimes can be really helpful because, especially for pilots, to know that there's some oomph behind that from a district standpoint or a state standpoint that allows us to go after the best pilot or the best source, not source of revenue, but best dollar amount for payment in lieu of taxes. So I think wherever we can get that collective expertise will make us all stronger in the long run. Yeah.
So we did partner, Mindy Rep. Dom and I partnered on a solar forum with UMass, with the Clean Energy Extension. They're a great resource. And I'd be happy to make a connection if you just want to email me, hey, we'd like to talk about this, what resources are out there for us. DOER is also now an increasingly good resource. And I think any kind of resource gathering you want to do, I'd love to do it with you.
Great. I will say, I don't know all the details, but I just wanted to point out, because I don't know quite where it fits in this picture that we've been talking about. Our fire chief has reached out to the fire marshal, so I think they're developing some expertise or already developed expertise.
That's great.
So it would be nice to hear more about that, and we can put that on the agenda as
I would love to hear from you, Chief, about that.
Right, and part of it was looking at it as we've done in other instances for planning, on the planning board, not for the select board, is to get a consultant to actually paid by the, not paid by the town, to get a consultant who will help the chief as needed, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I will say also, in another town, the public health folks have planted a stake, especially with regard to the siting of a solar or a battery facility if it's on, for example, on top of an aquifer or near an aquifer. And it turns out that public health has quite a bit of standing in these, so that's another place for Northfield. I love that I've not heard of other chiefs reaching out to Marshall Davin, who I love, John Davin. So it's great that you are, and I'd love, please tell the chief if I could get connected there and hear what fire chiefs are saying, that would be great. But public health folks can also go to their public health associations, which have nice, very well-resourced lawyers who can help understand the public health stake in this. And the public health folks statewide are engaging in the regs, with basically saying, hey, look, we should probably talk to you now, because if you come to our towns, we could be a real problem for you. If you come if we're engaged too far down the road, we could upset the apple cart, right? So I feel good about that, right? Because I want public health folks to think from that bigger, almost loftier point. Sorry, I cut you off, Andrea.
Oh, no, I was just going to explain a little bit, is that we're not doing a battery storage. It's the battery storage on the two large proposed solars here. And so that it's more than your average battery storage on a solar project. And that's why he reached out to the fire marshal to say this is a little bit more than I would be normally involved in just a battery storage system on like a small solar array.
Right.
So,
And it's in a floodplain on the river.
so I've offered up, and it turns out I asked legal that you can use same provision that you can use for the planning board to get a consultant, or a conscom to get a consultant under the law, to get a quote from a consultant that then asks the applicant to pay for.
Yeah.
And that would advise our fire chief.
Exactly. Right. Those are the kinds of provisions that I think will be very helpful, that the state is backing. And then if Northfield wants to put in any critique on the regs, that's of course very welcome, and I'd love to see it.
Well, the more experience we get, the more we'll give our input. I think that's part of having you come on a regular basis, so that we can support the efforts, because I know sometimes it takes a while to get things through the legislature. So if we can, just like it takes us a while to move our projects forward, you're moving your projects forward. So when we can just use all of that energy jointly and move the town projects forward and the legislative efforts forward, that's the kind of relationship that I think we have. And ultimately, like the municipal infrastructure bills will benefit Northfield, but especially if we weigh in and provide that perspective that only Northfield can.
100%.
Yeah, great. Anything else on that?
No, I think it was an excellent presentation. Thank you very much for coming.
Yeah, I just had one more thing for
Sure.
you that I haven't talked to you or Elaine. Oh, I talked to Elena a little bit about. We had our quarterly EMS advisory meeting last week, and it was pretty straightforward, because we're on the tail end of 2 years worth of work getting all the 4 towns onto an intermunicipal agreement. So that was nice. That's the good news. There's a concern, and I'm sure this doesn't come as a surprise, about the availability of medics and the costs associated with non-transports, and how sustainable that is for smaller services, right? So the newer medics really need to go to the larger, more active communities like Springfield, Northampton, East Hampton, Brattleboro, in order to get that first year's worth of experience. Otherwise, they can't be on a truck by themselves supervising an EMT.
Right.
And so I don't have any particular thoughts other than that's the problem. And I know that we have a really strong regional EMS, not just the 4 towns, Irving, Northfield, Bernardston, Gill, but in general in Franklin County, we're all looking at this problem, and I know Berkshire is as well, is it was great. It is great to have free education through GCC for paramedics. That's absolutely
Yeah,
essential.
we just did that.
Right, so thank you for that. The pipeline is long because it takes a while to become a paramedic. And then when they come out of that program, they really have to go to a much larger community to get that assistance. So I don't know if we can get creative about how this affects or could affect smaller services. We can certainly put something together with the EMS advisory group or FERCOG. I know they've been talking about this regionally as well. And just try to find some other creative solutions that build on that GCC solution.
I think the difficulty she's alluding to is that if we take a new paramedic, they can't be on their own for a period of time.
Yeah.
Right,
So a small service can't pay 2 paramedics.
to be
So
on the
we
track.
can't train the new paramedic once they emerge because we don't have the resources to fund
Yeah.
the truck if they're running that.
So there's some, I know how your brain works from a problem-solving standpoint, so I think there's something in there that we could get creative with the smaller services.
Yeah, maybe GCC. I wonder if GCC could incorporate, since it's free, right? It's now paid for. We have free community college. This is the only what's called a certificate course, and
Yeah.
part of it was actually advocacy by communities like Northfield
Yeah.
that said, hey, we got to open up a pipeline and we can't pay for this training. Not only, of course, Northfield,
Yeah.
and I think we're working with GCC on a police academy as well. Same reason,
Yep.
right? Communities, we need people to want to come here, and if we can make it free for them to get this training, it
Yep.
makes it financially easier. But I think we should follow up on this. I'm happy to talk to Linda Dunleavy and her team.
I just wanted to plant the seed because, we already saw in the news that, Conway and some of the even smaller services in the hills are having their own set of problems, so,
It's real.
yeah.
Well, and if an EMT here wants to go to paramedic, we want to urge them to do that. We then lose them because they leave being an EMT, they go through paramedic school, and then they have to go somewhere else.
Right.
They can't even return
We have somebody who.
because we can't run 2 paramedics.
You can't run
Yeah.
two paramedics,
Yeah,
So we haven't solved the problem, essentially, for Northfield.
So is the other half of that coin, you have to have so many hours too, doing a certain,
They can't, I don't know what the rules are exactly, but
I
they
don't know
can't run,
exactly.
they can't run by themselves right away.
yeah, but
They
don't they have to have a certain
overseen.
amount? Well, training is one thing, but then they have to have practical application.
yeah,
So-
that's it.
Right, maybe
So
there's
the
a
practical
practicum.
application seems to be the problem because you're paying 2 people. for that
Correct,
same
at
job.
paramedic level.
Yeah.
And that becomes when we're on the edge with these smaller services, that becomes much more difficult.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
let's look into this. I'm happy to look into this more with you guys and Linda and President Shute.
Yeah,
I do wonder,
great.
is there something that could happen in their training where they get some practicum that adds to their hours,
Yeah.
so that it's not such a burden on Northfield.
Yeah, and then the other thing I asked about briefly, not seeing any changes, but just based on the COVID experience, the public, speaking to the public health side of this, is when people start getting affected with their medical bills or the cost of care, then they start deferring, and that will have a long-term effect of making the calls to ambulances and emergency rooms go up, which, as we know, is a very expensive way of treating people. So this came both from our chief, Mark Fortier, before he transitioned into a new job.
Yeah.
It comes from the current group. It's come from as many paramedics that I've ever spoken to that they would love to be able to do some sort of community health where they actually, if somebody just needs somebody to go over there, which is what happens with the non-transports, is they're not sure if they're sick enough to go to the emergency room, but something happened. They maybe sprained an ankle or something. In talking about it with the chief, his story is always, we want people to feel like they can call us and that they don't have to go if there's not, quote unquote, an emergency. But on the other hand, that's not revenue. So approximately 20, if I remember correctly, typically 20 to 25% of ambulance calls are non-transport, and therefore they don't make the service any money. And that's true across the board, not just Northfield's service.
Wow.
Yeah. So that number, that 20% of revenue not realized is a tough one.
There's a niche there, though, in
Yep.
some communities that involves some on-the-site treatment
Yep.
without transport, right?
Right, but you don't get reimbursed for it.
No, I
Oh,
understand
yeah.
that. I'm saying
Oh, okay.
that's the niche, to find a way to...
No, exactly. So
to-
that you're doing something from a health standpoint, and then people aren't to your point, to not
Right.
waiting to go to an emergency or feel like they can't wait. I know a lot of PCP and routine things are taking like 3 to 6 months to get scheduled.
Yeah.
So if there's some things that you could actually be going to somebody's house and going, here's your
Right.
whatever.
And getting paid for it.
And getting paid for it. Yeah, exactly. Thank
I
you.
believe that the chief, the EMS chief mentioned that. I
Yep.
wanted to take a step back because we moved on to
sorry.
GCC and the practicum. Some ways to go about that. So I worked as an EMT for a while, and some ways, and the skills are very different, and the responsibilities the skills are mostly the same, but the difference is important, right? Between paramedic and EMT. And if in a practicum world, doing an internship, like that's something that the state could perhaps fund. They pay for our people to have their internship and take their time rather than, because you need real world experience. In-school experience is, again, very different, right? So I just wanted to tag that onto the discussion, the idea of the state helping the paramedics at the end of their training to take an internship, which might enable them, or at least close to enable them, to begin practice and supervisory role immediately. That would be a really tangible, concrete help to these small towns who can't afford to double up.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really helpful.
Great.
This
What a
is
great
really helpful.
discussion. I think,
Can I just say super quickly
Yeah,
on
go
education
ahead.
funding, which I know
Yeah.
is huge? Two things. One, in the fiscal year 26 budget, we did put in, I worked with Senator Jason Lewis on a local contribution study. So you know very
Oh.
well, more than most, school funding is both Chapter 70, what the state gives, which is not enough, and then what it asks Northfield to pay, what it says, okay, this is what you can pay Northfield, and this is, why you should pay it. So that formula, what Northfield has to pay, hasn't been looked at in 18 years. And so the assumptions in that formula
wow.
are 18 years old. That's a long time,
Wow.
right? And they're everything from the split between the state and the local, the aggregate split, the 49-51, the cap, which is an 82.5% cap. Everybody's capped, even the wealthy, I call them the big fat W's out east, the Winchester Welsleys, they're capped. The thought was 18 years ago, everybody needed some, buy-in. They needed some money, but really do they? That's the question. It's my question. So we have that, we were able to get that in the budget. And then
Great.
we're really pushing and working with the governor to launch a new foundation budget review commission. And that's because, the last one 10 years ago, 2015, didn't focus on districts like ours, rural or declining enrollment or both. That's what we have out in Western Mass. And didn't take into account special education, which is where I've focused because it's such a huge,
yeah.
I know communities want to offer great education, but the cost is considerable, right?
Right.
We were able to put some circuit breaker money in, about 250 million more in the fair share supplemental. But still, I know it doesn't, it's not the day-to-day special education costs, and that's where we have to focus. Plus, vocational school, regional school transportation, all these things that were not part of the last foundation budget review.
Yeah.
So the governor has given some very good signals that she's interested in that. Any kind of advocacy to Kristen, like, hey, open
Okay.
that formula, would be good. It is, I'll say, in my priorities, not that other things aren't important, but education spending is so huge for our communities, and I love working with Superintendent Kinsella. We have a great working relationship, and she's been a great advocate. And I just know, we have to get this done. There's a world of opportunity for us in our community budgets if we can crack these formulas open. So I'm pushing pretty hard on DESE.
Okay.
to open up the study, the municipal contribution study, and then I'm really pushing pretty hard on our great governor to put a foundation budget review commission into the fiscal year 27 budget, which is where I think it belongs. And you know, there may be opportunity for Northfield to poke, even a text to Kristen Ellico, like, hey, we need these formulas open, is enough.
Okay.
Because it's just letting her know that this is relevant for Northfield. So no big letter is needed, just like a, hey, Kristen, please, thanks for supporting the Gov
Okay.
to do this. She said last night, actually, at an event, she knew the formula had to be open. And that was a public
nice.
event, and it was a good thing to hear, so I was happy to hear it.
It's public now.
It's public now. And we said it in Northfield.
Oh my goodness. So I think for the folks in the audience and at home, and I think we're all on your newsletter. I know you cover these things in detail, and you have like a summary section for those who don't want all the.
Get a little upset at the
Yeah.
length of the newsletter.
Right. Too long, didn't read. So I just want to remind everybody that when you're moving stuff along, that it'll show up in one of your newsletters, and then we can jump in.
That's true,
Okay.
Yeah, and everybody's welcome to sign up for it if you're not getting it. The last one had spinach in the title. Makes it easy to find in your email inbox. So,
I'm like, well, when I saw that one, I'm like, what are we doing with spinach now? So, okay, great. Any other questions or comments from the board? Great, thank you so
thank you.
much for all the
sure,
time.
happy to. Thanks for letting me come and talk to you. And
Yeah.
again, thank you for a great town administrator partnership, a great chair partnership, and partnership with the town. It's
We're
really,
just so thrilled about water and sewer and
yeah, moving the needle,
yeah,
little by little.
moving that football.
That's it. I don't have any right to
Me neither, but I use it anyway.
It's like not real for me.
I was a cheerleader in high school, so we'll go with that. Thank you. Okay.
Special events.
Special events. Powder, you want to come up? We can take you a little early. Oh, Martha's here too, right.
Good, I was afraid she might not be so good. She's,
The dynamic duo.
well, we'll see.
Well,
Working at it.
yeah, it's nice to have you guys back. You've got yet another event. And it's more people than we were first projecting. So this is going to be very visible and nice. And why don't you give us the introduction and let us know? And
Well, this is called the Crop Hunger Walk, and it's sponsored every year by Church World Service, otherwise known as CWS. And it's always on the first Sunday of October. And each year there's a different church who's the host. And last year it was in Shelburne, and right after it I said to Steve Damon, who was the coordinator of the Franklin County Crop Walk. He lives in Gill, and he's a member of the Bernardston Church. And he's been doing this for 10 years. And I said to Steve, well, next year is Trinitarian Church's 200th anniversary. So this seems like a nice time for us to host the crop walk. So that was settled. So we thought that there might be about 75 people, because I'm thinking, I know you walked last year. I did not walk, but I was there.
yeah.
And I would say there were about 75 people. And the last time I talked to Steve, which was about 10 days ago or a week ago, he said, oh no, we're going to have probably between 100 and 150.
Whoop.
We have some more
Ooh.
churches who have joined, and there seems to be a lot of enthusiasm for it. And so when I first presented it, a couple of us mentioned it to several people in the town. It was 75 people, and also you didn't know the routes. And now we have the 3 routes, and you can see that they are crossing Main Street in 2
Yep.
different places.
Yep.
So I know that was a bit of a concern, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, that's the introduction to that.
Well, we're always concerned when there's that many people
Yes.
going across a crosswalk, but as I understand it, you have crossing guards.
We
and
do. We have
the police
3.
are fine with it. We've already notified EMS, so I think we're good on that. And I think Northfield's going to be, I'm just looking at the loops here. That's like a,
Oh, pretty full town.
Yeah. So.
Yes, it should be, route number 3 and 4 are quite similar. Patterson one that
I made the routes.
drove around
Good
and made.
job.
Well, I made
Pattern.
sure that we only hit the crosswalks that have the blinking lights. And so there will be
Good.
a monitor at all those crosswalks, but we'll hold back a crowd and to let some traffic go and then make sure after we hit the light that cars have stopped.
Right.
And then people will be able to go across, but they're only at those places.
Great.
So, but they do walk along the edges of some streets where there are no sidewalks, but they're back in, like East Street and Burnham Road.
Yep. Should be.
Yeah, otherwise it should be.
And the
fine.
weather's supposed to be nice too. You guys.
Yes,
Oh,
the last I looked, it was
fantastic.
78 degrees with a totally bright sunshine. Not good for the drought situation.
Right.
Good for a walk. So.
Okay. Any
And
questions?
I don't think there are a bunch of smokers throwing their butts, so
No, I
I think we'll
thought
be all
about
right.
that today. No, we don't need to worry about
Yeah.
smoking material.
The
No walking
benefit
and
of this
smoking
is
at the same time. Yeah.
25% of the proceeds from the crop walk go to Franklin County food pantries, and the other 75% go internationally to various food and sustainability projects throughout the world. And as we know, the need is acute right now, and it's
Yeah.
just going to be getting worse. So we feel very strongly this is a good thing to be doing.
Yes, Church World Service has lost.
A lot of employees.
They've lost 40% of their employees because they're funded nationally. This is happening all
Federal
over.
funding.
Nationally by
Oh.
USAID. And so they're trying to make
Right.
up for it as much as possible.
Wow. Any questions from the board?
None whatsoever. That's a very nice
Okay.
walk.
You guys are pretty smooth presenters, I would say. You got your, I think this really fits though. I just want to say congratulations. I think this really fits with your 200th. And I know the Trinitarian has really had a strong interest in providing food for people using the kitchen down below. So it just seems like, I don't know, it just seems
It
like
all
a
fits
really,
together.
yeah, it's synergistic, and the fact that you brought it to Northfield is really nice.
Yeah, I think it's mine. People might stop at Mims or else grab a
Wow.
creamy or
Probably
whatever on
both
their
at the
way
end.
out.
I bet they will.
Right? Yeah.
So
Maybe then the brewery
that's
and the
a positive
winery
thing.
You're
and,
going to want to warn them.
I actually think that's a good
Probably should.
idea. I better tell the
We
Bowens
probably should tell
at
them.
least, yeah, for sure.
it is open
Yeah.
Creamy's open in October, right?
I think it's open till
The
Columbus
holiday
Day.
weekend.
yeah,
Or
good.
Indigenous
Yeah.
Peoples Day.
Yeah.
Till the holiday weekend.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe give a heads up to the creamy because they'll really be packed. Okay,
Well, thank you.
well, hang on one second, we'll do the motion and get you on your way. Bernie, do you want to, where are my glasses?
Oh, that's right.
Or anyone want to do the motion
I'm not
for?
gonna leave it.
Oh, I get the
Make
name.
some citizens.
Oh, great.
I'm not gonna say
Okay,
that.
I motion that we approve the special event permit for the Trinitarian Congregational Church for the Franklin County Crop Hunger Walk on October 5th, 2025.
Second.
And we're waiving the fee?
And we're waiving the fee, of course.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Okay, so motion by Bernie and second
Second.
by Dan. Okay, all those in favor?
Ah.
Aye.
Okay, thank
Yay,
you very
thank
much.
you.
Come on out and walk.
Yes,
It's gonna be
walk.
a beautiful day.
You're a nice.
I'll bring one of my dogs and
There you
we'll
go.
provide the
Walk along.
cheerleading on the side of the road there.
Well, taking care of hunger and health.
Yeah. Yeah, good point.
Oh, that's right.
Like, God knows we need that.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay,
You
what's
wanna
next?
sign this while you're thinking
Yeah,
of it?
yeah.
You.
I don't see the Monster
Monster
Dash
Dash is
folks,
second
were they?
They haven't come every year because it's the same thing every year.
Okay. All right, let's do Michael and then we'll talk about the Monster Walk because I know that's coming up. It's gonna be a busy weekend in Northfield. Michael, you're back.
I'm back. Nice to see you all again.
Nice to see you. So you're here for the Trinity Solar Temporary Vendor Hawker Permit Extension Request?
Yes, please.
Okay, and the dates are, were
I
you?
was just thinking,
Yeah.
October 1st through the 31st.
Okay. And I know we approved the last one, so you were in town, and I don't think we received any complaints or concerns. Nope. So we're good on that. What did we do for the hours?
I think we left it somewhere between like 10 and like around 6.
Right, before it gets dark.
We got it, yeah.
Yeah.
We do
If-
have on the 31st, we've got the,
Oh, yeah. You're
Yeah.
not really going to want to
What's
do
going
anything
Oh,
on the
Halloween?
31st.
No,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
all right. Yeah.
I think that's why we had the 30th on there, because it's just going to be, Main Street's going to be packed. So unless you have another, well, plus everybody's trick or treating.
and nobody's going to want to
Yeah.
be talking about
Well,
solar.
I could go dressed as a star. They never see me coming. But
I'm curious how many houses did you visit?
not that many in the last month. I was really busy in like other towns where I was finishing up business there too. So I would assume I probably only stopped by at 40 homes, if that,
Oh, that's
on the high end. So like with October, I'm hoping to actually like give Northfield some attention and talk to as many people as I can and move on.
Well, 40's still a lot, but given the size of Northfield, you got a lot of acreage and mileage to cover.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Reception's been pretty good?
It's
or-
been really, everyone's been super sweet, nice. Even if they're not interested, it's been a pleasant experience. So it's been going
Okay.
good.
Good to know.
All right. Shall we do any other questions? Shall we do a
I have
motion?
Motion to issue a temporary vendor's hawker and peddler license to Michael Smith,
From,
Trinity Solar, from October 1st to October 31st?
30th. I won't be around that.
Okay, well, put the
Yeah.
dates in.
yep,
And did we want to put the time in there too?
And
To
from
time
10 a.m.
noon
to
till
6 p.m.
6 or
the
noon?
times from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
10 a.m.
Okay.
to 6 p.m.?
Motion and a
Second.
second from Sarah. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Put it right on here, 10 a.m. to 6.
yep, that'd be good. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, so you've worked with Sandra, our town secretary. We're gonna all sign this and give the paperwork to Sandra, and you know the drill.
hmm
Okay,
Perfect.
thank you.
Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good sign. Right behind.
Okay.
Coming back.
All right, Monster Dash special event permit. Did everyone have a chance to take a look at that? I know we're pretty
Yep.
familiar
Yeah.
with that.
And that was,
I would never have any
Annual death.
problems with that, and I know police and EMS don't, so do you want to just, any discussions or questions on the monster, or you want to move forward as a group on that?
I think we're all aware of what it is,
Yep.
so we can move, I would suggest moving forward.
Okay.
I mean, we're all aware of who it is, but a sentence for people who are just new to town and seeing it for the first time. Monster Dash is, people can either walk or run and wear costumes if they want. And what is it? Is it raising money for, what's it raising money for? Does anybody know?
It's the Unitarian Church.
Yep.
The
Yes.
Unitarian Church.
Yes.
Okay.
First Parish of Northfield. And they're on Facebook, so if people are interested in entering, they would go to facebook.com, and it's Northfield Monster Dash 5K. Run, walk, and bike.
And bike,
Yep.
in costumes. If you're
Yep.
biking though, make sure you tuck.
Yeah,
You can even dress up your dog if you want to.
that's
Oh,
true. So it's one day only, Saturday, October 25th, from 7 a.m. to noon. And I think we always waive the fee on this one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll take a motion to that effect. Yeah,
motion that we approve the Monster Dash on October 25th from 7 to noon with the fee waived.
motion and a
Second.
second. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Fun stuff.
Okay. All righty, moving right along.
There you are.
Oh, thanks, we got a sign.
You got the other one?
Yep,
This is already over here. I'm making a pile if you want to pass
I'll
it.
take that one, single one, and put all three of them together. ones we signed.
Okay. Very choreographed.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay,
Okay,
it's all set.
payroll warrants. Can I get a motion for September 17th, 2025 payroll warrant of $97,736.85?
So moved.
Second.
Wow, Coke on you.
Either one.
Stereo,
Take your pick. That was in stereo. Okay.
okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was funny. Can I get a motion for the September 17th, 2025 vendor warrant of $1,369,539.57? And this includes the PVRS assessment, the Franklin County Technical School assessment, health insurance, transfer station recycling, a Mass Works grant, paving, as well as the sewer/water line.
So moved.
Engineering.
Engineering.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second, thank you.
I do have a question. The MassWorks grant, so is that's money that already came in and we're now paying it out?
MassWorks is reimbursable. We filed for it.
Oh, got it.
Yep. Okay. Good question. All in favor? Aye, great. And can I get a motion for the October 1st payroll warrant of $88,509.24?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And can I get a motion for October 1st, 2025, the vendor warrant of $374,455.81? This includes highway, bridges, and rails, public works, Mass Works grant again, Chapter 90 Warwick Road.
So moved.
Second.
What's Chapter 90? I thought that was the farm thing. What's Chapter 90?
Chapter 90 is money given to the highway department.
From the state, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Just
Okay.
one question quick.
Yeah.
Now, I want to make sure I'm getting to speak. The sewer water line, that was the engineering from Weston and Sampson. Do you have to remember?
It's possible we get both engineering bills and construction bills, and they can be in either warrant.
Okay, that's what I thought. I saw Weston and Sampson on there. when I
Oh,
looked
no,
at
it should be tie and bond.
The sewer line is being done by Weston and Sampson now.
Are they overseeing the construction? No, they did the design.
Time Bond did the design, but isn't Weston and Sampson?
I think it's the opposite, isn't it? Weston and Sampson did this sewer line and the bid, but
Well-
Ty and Bond is doing the construction administration and oversight.
Which project are we talking
Sewer, the
The
sewer.
water line,
What's that?
Oh, you're talking about the
water
water
line.
line to the plant?
yeah.
Okay, that's a different project. I'm sorry, I confused it with Highland.
Yeah. Which is also in there too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
We gotta-
So I know Weston and Sampson is doing the,
the water
The
line
water
engineering
line.
for the plant work.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're correct, I'm sorry. I
On
forgot.
I
Meadow.
did see them
Yep.
on the warrant, so the vendor warrant.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Okay,
Tracking the vendors.
good, I want to make sure I had it right.
Yep, good. Review and approval of the minutes. And I just want to be clear.
This
We've
is
got,
on the 19th. It's just 2 words.
no, they're both on the 19th, but is yours on the yours is on the real estate. Okay, so can I get a motion to approve the August 19th, 2025 executive session contract negotiation
So moved.
minutes?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. And in front of you, you have some minor changes. Oh, we got you, Terry, we already took care of you.
Oh, really?
Yep,
You're done.
Wow.
All signed and sealed.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
That's
Yeah.
what you get for showing up
Yeah.
on time.
hang on 1 second, we're just gonna finish this
There's
and,
an information part on the agenda. for that.
yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that.
Hang on 1 second.
Sure, yeah.
We want to take advantage of, we haven't had a chat with you anyway in a while, since last year, so let's do that.
On the second one, I just had 2 words change, very
Yep,
minor.
and it's all in front of everybody,
Is that the
so-
one that was already changed I was looking at?
Yep.
The
Okay.
one with the red and.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So can I get a motion to approve the August 19th, 2025 executive session real estate negotiation minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, great. Okay,
And on the
and then-
next one,
yeah.
I'd like to put it off, the section that has me, I feel like was incorrect, and we got him a day late, so I was just wondering if we can put the 25 minutes just to the next meeting, please. The minutes.
No problem with that.
Okay, David?
I don't have a problem with it.
So you're gonna send some clarification in, so,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Bernie, you're all set.
Yeah.
I'm fine with minutes, but yeah, we can extend those. We just now, we have, so if you can get them in the next 2 weeks to Sandra, and then we'll get it.
Absolutely.
Yep, great. All righty, tabled. Okay, Terry, come on up. Come on up and say hi, and we were trying to give our best spiel on the event, and I think we did okay, but it's always nice to have you describe who benefits, how much fun it is, how many people.
Sure,
We already
yeah.
approved it, so you don't need to.
Great, yeah, so it's the 15th annual. 15 years now, which is
Oh.
great. And it's a fun run, a bike or walk, it's kind of your choice.
So you're describing what, because we know what
Oh,
you're
sorry.
describing.
Oh, yes,
but
15, yes.
Thank you,
it's
Dan.
It's a fun run or bike or walk 5K.
Okay,
The Monster
and-
Dash.
Monster Dash.
And it's
Thank
called
you.
the Monster Dash, yeah, the Monster Dash 5K.
okay.
15th annual, and we're gonna have probably, I imagine, we already have 90 signed up.
Wow.
So I imagine it'll be a record year for numbers. We'll probably get 120 to 150, so that should be fun. People dress up typically. There's lots of great sponsors this year. MIMS is our main sponsor, but Piccadilly is also a sponsor. And we have the recreational department as a sponsor as well. And that's helping pay for really cool t-shirts that my daughter designed. That has bats flying out of the church, and it's kind of fun. And on the back will be a picture of Mims that she also designed. So that's great. The first 100 are guaranteed a t-shirt. We may get more than 100, but yeah, and we get a lot of families. It's really priced well for families, because families can pay, I think it's, without looking at my flyer, I don't want to quote it, but I think it's $35 for a family of, if you've got 10 in your family, that's fine, it's only $35. And so it's done to encourage, participation, and we really get a lot of families signing up, and their kids come and dress up and have fun too. People can cut it short if they need to, because there's different routes if they have really little ones, so that's nice. And there's music. It goes through the cemetery a little bit, which is fun. And hopefully people will come out and enjoy it.
A couple of years ago, I think the garden club participated, and they did like a plant swap or a food swap underneath the pavilion. Is that happening again this year?
That's not happening this year. We'll have, Piccadilly brings tons of produce from their fields.
Oh, nice.
That are just giveaways to
Okay.
participants. So almost everybody goes home with at least one thing, and sometimes 2 things of different prizes and whatnot. So
Cool.
should be a good time.
Great. And it's run, walk, and bike.
It's your choice. So you
Yeah.
can run it, you can walk it, you can bike it.
Move 5K.
Yes. Yeah. It's
Family friendly.
Yeah.
Great.
Lot of fun. Okay.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You're all set. Okay. Good, you guys.
Business.
Okay, town meeting, electronic voting.
Yes, so the town clerk of Orange was going to attend to talk to us about it, but was unable to secure childcare, and so we had to switch that. So hopefully she'll come again later. One of the reasons I wanted to bring her is Orange just instituted electronic voting pretty recently, within the last couple of years, at the behest of their moderator, who wanted it done for clarity of voting. And the town clerk now used to be the assistant town clerk and was in charge of gathering all of the everything. And so she really, really knows a lot about it. In speaking with her, one of the very interesting things is that Orange has worked with other smaller towns to lend the equipment. So if we wanted, we could do a trial and we could try it out. I'll try to get her, she has a husband who's also goes to a lot of meetings, and so there's a childcare thing, but I'll try to get her at a future meeting The initial purchase expense was not, was minimal, and the maintenance is almost zero. You just have to go in and replace batteries. And what we're talking about is a little remote control doohickey that you get when you check in, and you vote using that instead of having to raise your hand, instead of having to get up and walk. It's a private vote, and then the board up in front tallies the votes not by what you voted for. It just says this many people have voted while the vote is going on, so they can see, you know, if everybody's had a chance to vote or most
So
people
there's
have
some
had a chance to
software
vote.
involved, it sounds like, right? So,
And that's all, it's relatively, the impression that I got was it was simple and easy to use, and it wasn't, the one concern is that when people check in, you know how when people come in to vote and they cross their names off, if you're getting a little remote, that remote needs some kind of identifier on it, so if you forget and stick it in your purse, we can come and say, hey, can we have our remote back? But that's
well, if
it.
they're numbered, I think that would work.
Yeah. There's a, you know, so that it might entail.
Have you talked to our town clerk? 'Cause they actually have used this up in Leiden too at one time.
Oh, nice.
So, and she just heard about that. So I think it would be a good one for the town, the special town meeting. Not necessarily the sixth town, but our normal one. Because do you think it would be a lot of people at the fall town meeting? I don't think so.
Our record numbers have been at specials.
Yeah. Usually special end up about 200 people.
Well, I mean, when you had the infrastructure vote, it was over
Yeah.
400.
That's well, that's yeah. That's
I'm
because we
I'm
spend
not
money.
totally clear on how much it costs.
And I don't have
Okay.
the specific
Yeah, I was gonna
numbers.
say, I need the exact cost.
No,
before we can
exactly, and
put something forward.
that, totally, and that is
Yeah.
why we wanted the person who was the expert to come, and I wasn't able to reach her
Yeah.
today. She was gonna forward me some, I'm just really busy, and
Yeah.
and I didn't get connected before the time when I knew she wasn't coming.
Yeah.
So that was on me,
So
not
the thing
her.
too is, I don't know if the town, well, I know the town clerk doesn't have that in her budget at this time. But if
Yeah,
going
that's
forward,
the-
then they could add it to the budget. So if something comes up, she may have to look for other funds or have supplemental towards the end of the
Well,
season
depending on the
cost.
layout, whether you're buying or renting, you might need an article at town meeting.
True,
Right, because that's not in anybody's budget, the initial layout.
no.
And don't we have to vote on it at a town meeting, whether to use it or not first? So
Yes,
Yes.
with the first time we have a special town meeting or something,
you could,
you know, we'd have to vote on it, because we
Yeah,
wouldn't be
so
able to
there's a
use it
few,
if we
yeah.
didn't vote on it.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can you, so Orange, I'm not clear what you're saying. I mean, I know different towns have different experiences. I actually, by the way, talked to somebody when I was at a FERCog meeting, and they were like, no, our town voted it down because of the cost. So I'm not sure if it's the same setup or if they had talked to Orange, but there was a concern about the number of devices and the fact that they were somewhere around $28 to $30 per device. And you have to, from a town clerk standpoint, you have to think about your numbers. So you might only buy 400 or 500 or whatever you decide the amount is, but you have to think about if you did have a bigger turnout and you only have X number on in your inventory or whatever you want to call it, that you'd have to have some sort of service where you actually get emergency, you know, if the lines are out the door, that somebody shows up and has more clickers to give you. So there would also be like an annual software / vendor.
it might
Yeah.
be, you know, the vendor that does this probably runs through this all the time, and it's probably not beneficial for the town to own them. It would be probably better if it could
I don't
rent
know,
them
yeah.
or do it on occasion, see what it would cost to do it that way. Because you have them for 4 or 5 years and they become outdated, then you spent money on it. Whereas if you're
Well,
renting
yeah.
them
I
or doing it that
I don't care either way.
would
I
check
just want to
both
see the
ways.
numbers. I
Yeah,
think that's the
I
key
agree.
thing, is just kind of lay that out. Because if you own them, then you got to store them and you got to take the batteries out. And the election workers would then have to go through and test each of those potentially hundreds of devices, which they're not currently doing before a meeting. So, yeah, we would want to make sure the town clerk and the election.
Well, it's another,
True.
it would have to be
Yeah.
tested. Everything you
Yeah.
have during an election has to be tested
I
anyway,
think it'd be
so.
good to do it on something low risk, having been in IT.
Yeah.
Get your early adopters out there. Is do it like at an info session and have just some questions that people are able to get the feel for, so you can kind of work out the bugs. 'Cause
Yep.
the other thing that came up I can't remember who this other town is, but the other thing that came up is some of the older citizens were just like, I don't want to do this. I
Right.
just want to raise my hand or write something on a piece of paper, and it's cheaper anyway. So that is kind of what led that town to not do it. I'm
Right.
just going to
I
pass
was
that
really
along.
encouraged
When
by
I
the
find
fact
that info, I'll send it to
I
you.
was really encouraged by the fact that Orange, she volunteered, excuse me, when we were speaking, that another town had actually borrowed their equipment and does that on a regular basis. So
What
Yeah.
other towns around here do it other than Orange?
I don't know. So that was what she
Yeah, good
evidently
question.
Leiden did it for at least
Yeah.
some.
I believe, I will find out from Leiden,
Yeah.
because we'll probably be seeing them in a while. But if it works out, yeah.
They're small.
Yeah,
so.
so, yeah, they have 500 people.
One of
in
the,
town.
I mean, I think one of the things that, I mean, didn't we vote to spend $180,000 on renewing a bathroom downstairs? One of the really big things that I think balances against the cost, which as I understand it is minimal, but we're going to find out, is the privacy in voting. I've had people say that they didn't feel comfortable voting against things because they thought there would be retribution. Now, I don't think that that is true, but privacy in voting will allow people to do that. They vote, their neighbor doesn't have to know what they're voting. If we decide to do a counted vote, we actually have to get up and everybody goes down. There's a problem with people who are in wheelchairs, who have mobility issues. It takes forever. So one of the main arguments that people have about town meetings, and I've heard it so many times, is, oh, it takes all night, I don't have time. This kind of thing really speeds that up. You know, we
Yeah.
don't have to have people walking up and down the aisle. So there will, I mean, for many things, I think we need to be very careful not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. We spend things on all sorts of things in this town, and I'd like to really give it strong consideration, because I think that there are some reasons why this would be very good for our town and any town.
I
And I
think-
like the idea of having an information session where we could get together
Yeah,
with Orange and
a
have
mock,
just have a mock thing to see how it works and
Yeah,
everything.
you
I
can
love
have fun
that.
with
I think some of the things you got to worry about too is because we do have an older population, they sometimes have a fear of technology.
Yes.
Yeah,
So that would be something you'd have to educate people with.
that's why you want to try it out, yeah,
So,
before you commit.
And I
Yeah.
would, yes. And the other thing is, okay, once you hit it, you vote, that's it. You can't read
You can continue to change it until they turn it off.
Really?
Yeah, you can change your vote, because the only thing that's going up there is the vote count, and it will only take one vote per
Oh, you can keep
remote
clicking it,
control.
but so
And
it's
you
not
can
counting
change
it
your
after.
vote until they say, okay, now I'm stopping the vote, and then it hits his gavel. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Was that clear?
it only accept one option from that. When you turn it off, you can't go twice. You can't vote twice.
You can't vote twice,
That's
but
all.
you can change
But see,
your
that's
vote.
what people will think. That's
Right.
you gotta be careful. If you're gonna do that,
Yeah.
you gotta do a lot of education
Yep.
and
Yep.
make them feel really warm and
Comfortable.
fuzzy about
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
So I appreciate all the passion, and I love new ideas. I think it's just, the cost, technical requirements, making sure the town clerk and the town moderator are on board, trying it out before buying, so we know like what the citizen concerns will be, because
Not
that,
only citizen, but the election workers.
Yeah,
What-
yeah,
what it-
yeah.
What it entails for them.
right, because they're
we
gonna
have
have
a
to do.
better idea
Right, well, like,
impact.
just maintaining
Mhm.
and making sure things are working, and what kind of expense that would be. And if that's something that we're looking at potentially for FY '27, then when we look at the budget count, I think that's has been in our packets, is just keep in mind that we need to have all that information in order to get into the budget cycle. Otherwise, we're going to miss FY '27, and we'll be talking about it. As I know you're looking at, you've had this interest for a while and wanted, I think,
And I
just
don't
get
know-
onto the calendar so that we can get
You
the
might have to
dollars.
let elections know, the state elections, because you're changing.
Yeah, there's a whole host
Oh,
of,
because when we changed from one voting machine to another, they were very adamant about, you have to let the
do
state
you have to
know.
go through like
But
a
keep in
double
mind, we're not
check?
talking
No,
about
no,
using
no,
this
but you
for
ha-
elections.
Yep,
Okay.
but again, a special town meeting of town meetings and election. So you may have to just see if it's acceptable. It probably is, but you still want to bring them into the loop. You don't want them to, after to say, hey, you could, why don't you let us know about that? Because
Yeah.
we'd like to
Yeah.
be kept informed.
Well,
But it's an
there's
election.
the legwork.
It's, yeah. It's like,
But just to be clear for the folks who are listening, it's not an election where we're voting for people. It's the warrant where we're voting for
Right.
economy for the
Right.
town, for spending for the town.
okay. So are you thinking what?
I'll
you're-
reach out to her and I'll try to get the paperwork to everybody beforehand. Is there, on your calendar for upcoming meetings, when would be a good time to have that? When's fiscal year '27 shut?
Well,
You said get on the timeline for that.
Okay, so they'll start, the process will be starting in a month or so. And it goes hopefully until mid-March, we should be done, I'm hoping. With all the.
yeah, but
or what?
it's step by step, right?
Yeah.
So you
The
figure,
operating requests go out
right,
in
you figure,
November.
Yes.
here's, we'll see this on a couple other things. You need to figure out what's the capital. So if there's an outlay of equipment that's not currently on anybody's budget, that sort of thing, that might need to be a warrant article, right? And the other thing is, if not, or in addition to, which budget, which operating line, because you might be increasing the town clerk's
It would be
budget, for
going to
example.
town clerk, it'd be the operating
And
budget.
all of that needs to be in, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, the beginning of December?
Well,
Because-
yes, because the forms will go out on November and then they're returned
December.
in December
Yeah.
Right.
for first compilation for
So the
January.
first compilation is taking everyone's requests, and then the finance committee starts to look at all those requests in early January and kind of moves through the process, yeah.
The problem here is you have two things going on. You have a capital request and an operating request.
I know.
So actually, the capital requests go out in October, due back in November.
Okay,
And then the because that way the finance committee gets a look at what all of the capital requests are, because those are usually the generally largest requests.
Yeah.
They kind of know what operating requests are going to be, give or take a little. So first go out the capital requests so they can see what
Okay.
everybody's going to ask for, because by then they will start to know what is going to be certified for free cash, and they can start to look at that. And then the next thing that goes out is the operating request in
Yep.
November. And then the department starts, so it will have an operating component, which would be a warrant article to purchase hardware, and it would have a capital component, it would have an operating component if
Yeah.
it was to go into the budget for time for election workers to do
Election workers. and, yeah.
testing and
yeah.
battery. I don't know how you would figure that out, but
Well-
there would be two pieces to that.
right.
Okay.
And before the capital request, correct me if I'm wrong, if we're thinking it's more than $10,000, then there should be 3 quotes, so I don't know what the vendor thing is like. But typically with software, and I also did a quick Google search. There was a town in Eastern Mass that had done it, and they had actually looked at 3 different vendors. This was back in 2022, so I don't know how that still holds up 3 years later, but if it's going to be more than 10,000, then you would need 3 quotes from them. So that's prior to submitting
You
the
said something
capital.
about software, you were starting on that?
Sorry?
You said, at the beginning of that sentence, you said, about software.
So,
Is it just that the software renewal or something you were talking about money and you mentioned
back,
software
well,
just now? That's okay, it's okay.
I don't think, well, let me just restate. Whenever you're dealing with a vendor, there's going to be an initial outlay of money, and then you'll have an annual expense.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and then you would get that from 3 different vendors. And of course, with 3 different products, there might be pros and cons
Yes.
or preferences that people had. That's what I noticed with this one Eastern Mass town. They're like, well, we like this one from a security and privacy standpoint, and it was going to, and they had laid out all of their criteria, like how many clickers they were going to have to get, what the annual software was. So if you can kind of compile all that, we can definitely go back over that on October 14th and see what ballpark are we talking about and whether or not you do want to move forward with all of the additional work that's kind of lined up behind that. Okay. Great. All right, fall town meetings, dates, and draft warrant. We got your email. I think Andrea sent an email out to everybody.
Well, I sent you, there's a new one on your desk.
Oh,
There's another-
on the desk.
On your desk, you
The
have a
new
new
warrant.
draft because I received more in the meantime.
So the deadline was yesterday, speaking of warrant
Right.
articles.
And there are potentially, this is just everything, it doesn't mean everything ends up, but there are potentially 11 articles here.
Okay.
So the deadline was yesterday for departments to submit.
an article. I mean, obviously, if something comes in last minute and you guys want to allow it, and the finance committee's okay with it, but that was to get the primary requests in, yes.
Okay.
Right.
So they should
and
have submitted them.
what we
Even though we
want,
don't necessarily have all the information, we've got a
Yeah.
placeholder and we're
Got it.
working on it.
and this is gonna, so we have 2 more meetings after this,
Before
correct?
this. Are you saying before this or
You
after?
would
before we
want-
sign
You'd have
the
to sign on
final.
October 28th.
Yeah.
So there'll be a
Right.
whole nother meeting, your
Yeah.
October 14th meeting, you would
So
discuss this.
I'm
again.
just pointing out, this is the first blush.
Draft.
It's not totally filled in, but I thought it was important from a scheduling standpoint to give us a sense of how many articles we're talking about, because we're also lining that up potentially, with the second special town meeting for the 6th town. So you know how these things go. So do you want to just take a quick pass through each article? We don't have to go into tremendous detail, but just so you get a sense of the breadth and depth, and then let's talk about dates, because that's still not completely
Hasn't been
tied
settled.
down.
I like the supper majority vote.
Yeah, I know, it was a typo.
You have a pilot, you have a potluck.
I hadn't even bothered to fix it, I noticed it. and I just-
Oh, I'm just playing though,
That's, yeah. Yeah, we
Just a
would like
note.
supper.
right?
Yeah. Okay, so this is a bill from EMS, and the reason why it's from fiscal year 2025, as I recall, is the chief took time to knock that original bill down. So that's why it's coming up on the special town meeting, because the vendor,
And they don't have the money in the,
yep, they do.
oh, they do, so we're just.
But it's the wrong
okay.
fiscal year, so you have to vote.
We have to vote to
Excellent.
approve it. So this is just a thing that was at the end of the fiscal year, and he wanted to make sure he could get the bill even farther down than it was.
I have a question about that. So we're writing to citizens, and often the discussions are about where's the money coming from, what the money goes to.
Yep.
I think it would be useful, if possible, to, do we not have it here?
What?
To write that it's coming from the, am I missing something? I'm really tired right now,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
apologize.
Yeah.
You mean from where it's coming from? From-
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
to say
coming from
it's coming-
their funds.
Right, but to say it here. so
That's
that-
done, yeah,
That generally speaking, if you look at all the warrants over
I know,
the years,
I thought I was
you don't
missing something.
identify the complete source, you do it in the motion.
In the
And the
motion.
reason is because that could change actually at the last minute for some strange reason. And then you've printed it in the warrant, you can't change it.
Got it.
So usually you leave the breadth of possibilities, even though when the finance committee specifically goes through it, they will identify all the funding
Yeah.
sources, and those will be in the motions.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 2, this is what we had talked about before. We just wanted to put that out there on the properties that were around the center cemetery and moving those into the care. Again, not all of the details will be on here. There'll be more info in the booklets that we get at town meeting. But this would put this into the care and
Right, I think
handling
it-
of
And the
the Conscom.
purposes,
And I think that it's still sitting in the care and control and custody of the
Treasurer.
So that's why their blank is there, because I just need to get it, this will all be run past the lawyer, so that's why it hasn't gotten that far. And then what they suggested you do, if you want to preserve this, is you would do it under conservation and dedicate it to Article 97 of the Articles Amendment of Massachusetts Constitution. This puts it in conservation.
Right.
It basically makes it untouchable.
Correct, because then in order to get it out of Article 97, it takes an act of the House and Senate at the state level to vote it out. If you ever wanted to remove it, which is a very difficult, cumbersome process. So, but this is something a town can do to put it in conservation.
Okay. We'll just keep running through these, and then we'll have 2 more meetings of this as we get more and more of the details. So Article 3 is a fire department capital stabilization fund. I talked with, this idea came from Mike Quinn. I talked to Skip today to tell him we were going to start thinking about this. And because we're focusing on fire this year and the coming years, both with equipment and building, Mike's question was, why can't we have a fund where they're putting savings aside each year? And I thought, and I asked Andrea, she's like, yeah, we can do that. We've only had, I think, how many stabilization
You have a
funds?
general one, and you have you have a capital one,
Right.
which is available for all, capital.
This is not new. We did it for one of the fire trucks. So, and it was
Yeah.
a 3-year process where you put some money in for 3 consecutive years, earmarked for a specific piece of equipment.
Which is how they work and think. So I said, why don't we just codify that into a fund, so then when we go to the town meetings and we're voting on moving money around, the fire can see we're voting to take money from, say, now that we're no longer in engagement with Valley Concrete, we might take a sum from there and put it in this fund, right? It's kind of like a rainy day fund for the big expenses
And
that
that's where
fire
the next
has.
couple come.
That's
Yeah.
the next article. And those
Yep.
numbers are completely made up. I just randomly did that.
Oh,
So
need 'em-
just to
you
put
mean it-
something, there's no.
Well, they're placeholders,
Right,
it's not
right.
random, yeah.
I didn't, that's why there's question marks. It was just a.
So then Article 4 gives you an idea of how what I just said would
Will be
work.
distributed.
Right,
Yep.
so, and the answer to where is the money coming in Article 3
Is in Article 4.
Article coming from,
Yep.
coming from
Correct.
Article 4.
And those funds may move around. The Finance Committee hasn't certainly weighed in on what they would like to see go where, based on the needs and.
So to be clear, all that money was in the building account or no, some of it came from the cell tower, right? But this is $2 million, $2,100,000.
Yep.
Yes.
And that money was in an emergency building, was earmarked for emergency building, and now we're talking about
Well,
giving,
It was, much of it, well, some of it was raised and appropriated.
right?
Some was in the cell tower revenue account, and some was in the general capital stabilization account.
Right.
Those 3 merged to be an appropriation of $2,100,000 to purchase the property. You now have to
Right.
rescind that vote and put that money somewhere.
Right. The thing I think we need to keep in mind, though, is the ambulance. I don't know. So I was just reading it again. The ambulance property expenses, including ongoing rental expenses. I think that is already covered somewhere else. We put aside this money to save for a new building. I don't think that it should be used for ongoing rental expenses. I think they should be paying for ongoing rental expenses from their account. I don't have a problem with it going into a pile for emergency services building, because that's what the town already voted on. But I think ongoing expenses are something different. And I think this money I know this money was set aside, even the raise and appropriate was set aside for that purpose,
Yeah.
and I'd like to keep it for that purpose. Because it's a slippery slope, and then you've spent the money,
We hear, and there's some details that we really can't get into, and I think this will become clearer as we get through the sessions following this.
Okay.
So I don't want to spend too much time on it. It's definitely heard, and the numbers are placeholders for now. Same thing with Article 5, that will become
And
more.
6,
And 6 will become more apparent, so.
potentially.
Right.
Articles 5 and 6, they're potential.
Right, so these are placeholders. Again, I just wanted to give everyone a rough draft so we can get a sense of the breadth and depth of a possible town meeting. Okay, Article 7 is relatively straightforward. It has to do with HVAC improvements at Dickinson Memorial Library. Anything else to say about that?
Do we know the amount?
Not
We
yet.
do, she's asking for $75,119 at this time. She's got a total quote, she has some,
75,000?
she's replacing all they have no air conditioning as of next summer. It will be, their HVAC system is not for AC throughout the building.
Are they-
But it, I mean,
are they
you'll
doing
get the
heat-
article,
is-
there's one Mitsubishi 4-ton heat pump.
Oh, okay, heat pumps.
Two 2,400 BTU floor units, I mean, she has a list, and you'll get all that, and
Okay.
Finance Committee's gonna get that, I'll scan all this in for their meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
And you'll review that, and then it'll all come back to you. But she has a whole request, a whole project.
Okay. I'm just going to keep going. Article 8 is, right now, is $2,300 to pay for wastewater treatment department costs for the installation of a manhole on Moody Street.
Is that coming from their funds?
Yes, most likely, yes.
Yeah.
They're looking to, we have to wait for certification, which we will know before this hopefully is signed.
Yeah, so
But
Department of
yes, the
Revenue,
understanding would be they
yeah.
would be moving from their
Yep.
enterprise fund.
Yeah, they did the manhole on Moody Street as a result of when they put the.
Is that the pole?
The pole that
yeah.
was
They
sunk
put
right
the pole
into.
through the
Yep,
pipe,
yep,
and then
yep.
The
they started using the line
unexpected,
again, and
yeah.
Yeah.
The unexpected event.
So they put a manhole in while they had things excavated.
Okay, and that's true also of Article 9 to pay for the purchase, $20,000 to pay for the purchase of a flow meter for the plant.
That's coming from the enterprise fund as well?
That's what's proposed, yeah.
Yep.
And 10.
Yep,
12.
same thing with 10. 11 is,
I don't have those. Oh, I don't have those in front of me.
10 we're good on, so that's another one. Article 11 is the flag stuff, and Sarah, I've got the background info for you on that. And I double checked, you weren't appointed to the committee, so I just need you're gonna take this part over and move it forward with,
Well, I was-
with Bob and
Yeah, I
company?
was, when I asked for the committee to be formed, I also said that I'd be willing to be the person on it, and you've had a meeting and didn't tell me that there was a meeting and started doing all kinds of stuff without even not even inviting me to come, which I thought was inappropriate since I was the one that was supposed to be doing it.
Who's the chair of
So-
the committee?
There isn't one yet, because
Oh.
it just got formed.
Right, I was just
So
kicking
who
it.
sent out the,
I did because
posting?
I
Oh.
kicked it off with the 3 people who had been
okay,
waiting. I'm happy to, and I teed up all of the info that came in from Bob last year into this. So I've got everything documented, and the concern was getting it onto the draft warrant.
okay. So is this a ad hoc committee, or is it a ongoing committee that's gonna be virtually, I wouldn't say virtually forever, because we want to put it on the website one way or another. Right now, we can put it on the website with the agenda,
Yep.
but there's no placeholder in the body of the,
My
at this point.
understanding was that it was ad hoc, and there
Okay.
weren't going to be a lot of meetings.
Okay.
But I think that's something that you can determine.
I would say just put it on for a year, and if they decide
I
that they're done.
think that's what we did.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be transferring all of the existing web pages over onto the new site,
Oh, okay.
what I had suggested was they're going to get more publicity by having it attached to all of the town meeting info, and it would go out in the info session, and then the committee can speak to the finance committee, the select board, and the town meeting. So,
I just want to make sure the information that we put out there is there for everybody as long as they want
yeah,
it.
that was what we had talked about doing, but if it all ends up in the town meeting information,
Yep.
and then there's no further purpose,
Then you don't need it after that.
right, so, and it's all collected anyway. I'm not, again, it was just to basically collect and tee up all of Bob's information before, and the other two folks. So the key thing is the Finance Committee starts looking at what we're looking at on Monday. So I'd like to get a motion to appoint Sarah to the Flag Committee formally.
Make the motion, yeah.
So just.
I'll make a motion to appoint Sarah to the Flag Committee.
Yep.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
And then I'm going to assume, like, here's the documentation on where the 7,000 came from. And then it has stuff that's not included in that estimate. So if this morphs through your work, then just keep in mind the amount will have to change. And we'll only have 2 more meetings before that.
Right.
Right, so it's really the month of October. Okay, great, thank you. Yeah,
The date.
For the meeting, November.
right, we're moving on, so we're all done with the warrant. We've got a sense of how big it is
We
for
have to set-
tonight,
Oh, okay.
right? We're not doing recommendations. Well,
No,
what
no,
was your
No,
question?
setting the date
A
for
date
the
for the
the
town.
meeting.
Oh, yeah, no, that's what I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
so we're,
Yeah.
all right.
I would suggest at this point you do the 19th because that tees you up for signing it on the 28th. If we move it up to, say, the 12th, which is the second week, which is you did last year as opposed to the third week,
Yeah.
it's going to push back all those deadlines.
Well, wasn't that
We have it on the
conflicting?
12th for November right now.
Possibly.
It's a
It was,
And the special town meeting for the 15th. I mean, the sixth
Right.
town.
Sixth town
thing.
meeting.
Yeah.
That was,
Which is, do they have anything
well,
actually to
I
put
just want to
forward
get
there
the
yet?
fall town meeting date set. And the reason, and I know we had set it, originally thought about setting it for the 12th, but I'm wondering if the 19th makes more sense now to tee it up. Otherwise, we have to push back your deadlines to review and sign because it's 2 weeks for a special.
so, again, it's usually our town meeting, when we have a special town meeting, we usually try to keep it on a Monday, but if you want to go to Wednesday, there's no
The
problem for
special
that.
town meeting was
Could be
on
any
a
time, always
Wednesday
Wednesday?
last year.
Okay.
Monday was your
Then the
annual.
Right.
Yeah,
Last
And
year-
didn't we had a holiday or something that was getting in the way?
that was the
That's
Veterans
October.
Day on the
Veterans Day
11th.
on the 11th.
That's the
Yeah,
11th.
so the Tuesday that week was out.
So the 19th, we're looking?
Yeah,
Wait. Why are we trying to, so we meet on the 28th of October, and we could do what we needed to do for the 12th, because that's more than 2 weeks.
Yes. For signing of a warrant.
You got 14 days, not counting the holiday?
Veterans
I
Day.
didn't bring my
Veterans
phone
Day.
in.
I
I
forgot
didn't bring
about
my
that.
Oh,
phone
I
in,
didn't
it's
think about
usually my
Veterans Day
calendar.
one.
Yeah, we have to be careful. I don't know. I
How
can
many,
count-
is it business days
It's
or?
14 days, but I think the holiday throws you off a day.
So do the weekends count as days is what I'm
They're
asking?
part of the 14,
Yeah.
so it's really going to be like 15 days.
that also means on the 28th.
If we
that-
meeting on the 28th, that's, yeah, more than enough.
13, 14, 15, so minus Veterans Day, that is 14.
So you're right at the,
Right, the
Cusp.
we'd have, but the problem is
Cusp.
you sign it on the 28th, it gets posted on the 29th.
And then if you didn't, yeah, I mean, then you get into Thanksgiving week.
So now you got to count from the 29th to the 12th.
No, we're talking about before Thanksgiving week.
Yes, but if the 19th and it's too close, you can either have the 20th, which would be a Thursday, or then you go into the following week.
Why do you have to have it the 20th?
She's
No,
and
no,
the-
I'm
talking
just
about
saying-
having the
oh,
meeting-
you have it, the 19th fits in with the 2 weeks.
No, I just want to make sure, because
The 28th.
we'll post on the 29th,
Yep,
because that's the first day it can get up. That's when it will be signed by the,
so you got one,
you'll
3
sign the
weeks.
28th,
Yeah, 3
but it's
weeks.
going to be signed by a constable on the 29th and posted. That's the first day it's up.
So 29th being day one gives
Or your
us
30,
15
31.
days.
So
Correct.
technically, it works. What it
Correct.
means, though, on the 28th is there's no adjustments. We have to sign the final in order for it to be posted legally the next day.
Correct.
So if there's any wiggling or editing or anything like that that people are feeling compelled to do on the 28th, that doesn't fit in the schedule for, the 19th would accommodate that
No,
potentially.
it wouldn't. Because you have to meet, the 19th, our meeting is on the 10th, And the 19th is only 9 days after that.
Right, but you've got a week in there, and sometimes you've thrown in a special meeting just to sign a warrant.
Oh,
That-
I
So
see.
you could
Yeah,
have a special
that's what I
meeting
mean,
within
yeah.
a few days,
So if
and
we
you could
met-
still sign a warrant.
If we met on the 28th and there were minor changes or there was more info from one warrant article or another, we could actually just do a quick meeting make all those changes, do a quick meeting a few days later, sign the final, and then get it posted. But it actually has to be a solid warrant on the
Signature,
28th.
right.
Yeah?
So what's the push? I don't
You
understand
can
the
do it on the
push.
12th. No, it just gave you some wiggle room.
Yeah,
It just
that's what I'm
gave some
saying.
Because
extra
we
time
have to
back.
do also that, if we're doing that special town meeting, that's on the 15th.
Right.
I mean, the
it's-
sixth town special,
Yeah.
something or
So
other.
that's the 12th or the 19th bookends that, so that doesn't really affect.
So that it doesn't affect it. So we've got to do stuff anyway. I'd rather have our town meeting before we have a thing on the week, a special town on the weekend. I'd rather put priority on our town. If people are going to show up for one, they need to show up for the fall town meeting.
So are we at the 19th or
No, I
no?
think
Or
she's pushing the 12th, but I mean, you don't.
Let me
to set it
just
tonight.
summarize so we can continue. So you're pushing for the 12th, which means.
Because I don't see any reason to move it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just going to say again, that means any work in October absolutely needs to be crystal clear and done and signable on the evening of the 28th in order for the timing to work. Just going to say that. So Dan, 12th or 19th?
Actually, the 11th doesn't count anyway because it's a week.
That's fine,
So
but-
we're good. So you could do it the 12th. But like you said, if something comes up and we don't have some figures, that would be the only thing that would be a problem.
We're not going to
If you-
have room for an interim meeting to sign a
Nope,
modified
When's
warrant.
the last time we did that? Anybody remember?
We've done it, yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
again,
I don't
special
think
town, we've only had a few special
Fall.
town meetings in the fall, and we were very open-ended when we did them. But we're trying to pinpoint a specific time frame now.
Yeah, we
And
have that.
we've got
Yeah.
conflicting
Yeah.
town meetings that's coming up. So
That's the challenge this year, is there's 2 special town meetings.
if we can get
So the
our,
pressure's on October for all of
yeah,
us.
if we can
yeah.
get, I have no reason to feel we can't get everything done in October.
Okay, so the 12th or the 19th then in
Are we
November?
meeting on the 10th for a regular select board meeting?
We're meeting on the 14th,
That's a-
October.
Well,
14th
the
of
question
October.
becomes, because you can't meet on the 11th, that's what Bernie's raising.
Oh.
Yeah. Someone said something about we're meeting on the 10th. I thought we were.
Well, you may be, but the finance committee,
We were
you may
just-
want to take that up with the finance committee.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
their-
yeah.
But they may not be
I thought we
meeting,
were
so
skipping that week because of the.
that's up to you,
of
but
everything
we
going
should
on.
at least ask the finance committee. They
That's-
may also meet
You
that
gotta
night.
ask the chair too
Right.
about that.
Okay.
That's a normal meeting
They
night
could
for
bring it up.
them,
They could bring it up tomorrow.
Okay, so,
Or next meeting.
Monday.
and we still have time at the next meeting if all of a sudden we're like, no, we
So-
want to do it different.
The 12th,
You're saying the
unless something,
12th.
12th unless something comes up that kind of postponed,
Good,
but then we would have to,
okay,
all right?
good. David,
12th.
okay, Bernie,
I don't care.
I don't care either. So let's go with the 12th. Let's review again the
Next-
draft warrant, the schedule, because this will continue to shake out. We'll do that at the next meeting. But right now, we've put a pin on the map for the 12th. Okay,
And then we also, the other fall special town meeting is that sixth town that we currently have scheduled on the 15th, which is a
Yep.
Saturday.
yep.
And what do we need to do for that? So,
I'm waiting for them
Do
to
we
give
have
me
a
a warrant
minimum-
article.
okay.
They haven't given
And whether
me-
we have, whether we have a minimum number of people show up, because, well, I want to know what we're voting for. And so the
Well,
warrant article has to come to us by
Yep.
what date?
30 days before the special, because they're having you call it.
They had a district agreement they sent in the email.
Yes, you have a district agreement, a draft of it.
I don't, because I don't have access to my email, remember, so I'll have to,
Yeah.
I'll get somebody to forward that to me.
Do you need Northeast IT again for,
No,
Okay.
it won't work
So-
on the, go
on
ahead.
your map?
So the preference though that I would see if we're doing on a Saturday morning, 9, 10 o'clock, And I'm thinking that we'd probably get more participation because people would say, oh, I don't have my whole weekend, or my whole
And
Saturday.
we're going back and forth with them on the time right now because a member of the Northfield representative, Deb Potee, has an afternoon commitment and she would like to be present at the meeting
Oh.
Right.
because she's been the representative. So they've
They've got to divide and conquer their
correct. And they
yeah.
also want to have one of their two sort of most
Yep.
educated people involved. So it could be as early as 9 because Deb has a commitment.
I thought we had to have it all on the same, I thought they were requesting it.
No, that has changed.
Yeah, that's, no, because
They
some of them,
can't.
I hear that,
Montague has to have an
18th,
election. They
yeah.
can't have they have to have an election, not a town meeting, because they have representative town meeting. And because they have representative town meeting,
There's a
everybody has
monkey
to
wrench
vote.
in there.
oh, it is.
It has a
Okay.
different
But-
notification.
Are-
Will take
are-
care of us, I would say.
Okay, do we feel
Well,
good
if
on
they
this
don't know, we
topic?
can
Do we feel good on this topic for
It's
now?
after hours.
Yes.
Yes, let's move on. Thank you.
Are we
Surplus.
okay with the idea of a town meeting information session the next day, the 29th, at the elementary school? Because I want to if I have to make the postcards and reserve, I have to contact the
Yep.
NES to reserve that.
Are we
29th
okay?
of what? What are we talking about? Oh, of
October.
2 weeks
October.
before we'll do the info session.
Yeah, there's-
Excellent.
Yeah.
Because I just have to get that request into NES.
All right, so Andrea's going to finalize the schedule. We'll review
this will be
again
all
at the
done.
next meeting. Info session on October 29th. Currently, the six-town special town meeting is on the 15th, and the regularly scheduled special town meeting for the fall on everything else will be on the 12th. That's what we've got right now.
That's correct.
To be reviewed and discussed again on October 14th. Okay, now on to something simple. Surplus property, wooden chairs hanging out in the town hall.
Okay, let's get rid of this.
For
Yes,
those people who are collecting antiques, they're nice antique
Well,
chairs.
I was thinking
So
maybe
if we
offering
declare them surplus, then you can talk with the Historical Society or any other
Right.
person who
who
might be interested in lovely but not
Very heavy
terribly.
chairs.
Yeah.
functional.
Solid wood chairs.
And they are folded up and taking quite a bit of space up in someone else's space. So we're trying to actually make the building and grounds maintenance space less of a storage closet and actual a workspace.
Yeah, so if we can.
So those
Yep.
chairs are stacked up in there. and
Okay.
it's-
Can I get a motion to declare the wooden folding chairs
Surplus?
declared as surplus property?
So moved.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you. Okay, Highland Ave sidewalks. We're following up from last meeting's discussion, and the town administrator and the highway superintendent followed up on the asphalt versus cement,
Right.
and
So
talked with the contractor and looked at the
And the engineer.
grant, and the engineer and the grant funding of that.
so
Update.
based on consultation with Tom and the engineer, both were involved in the design, the bid, and the bid review, the engineer and Tom. And based on the bid results, clearly the grant funding will cover the cost of either product. But based on discussion, because the project was bid as the cement, and after we told the contractor it was going to be cement,
You get some.
we would
They would
delay
have
the
to go
project.
do it.
We would delay the
Reluctant.
project, and we also notified the bid results to our grant, so we would have to retract that. So Tom and the engineer and the contractor decided to go ahead and move forward with the concrete. Tom's going to work with the engineer and the contractor. There's several solutions to go around trees. They can be actually expansive joints in concrete, there can be asphalt where the trees are. So they'll go tree by tree if there's an issue when they're doing around those trees.
Okay, great. All right. All righty, guys. Citizens' concerns. Patter?
Should I come up?
Yes, please.
So actually, we're
Can you just state your
Oh,
name
I'm
and address
Pat-
again for the
I'm Tara
record?
Field, and I live at 60 Highland Avenue in Northfield.
Okay, so unless your topic is on the agenda, I'm just going to state the ground rules. We're just here to listen. And you get approximately 3 minutes.
Okay.
And that seems to do the trick, believe it or not. But it's not like we're going to cut you off mid-sentence and the hammer comes down. So go ahead.
Okay, so this segues nicely from
Oh,
what
good.
you were just this minute talking about. And I can't ask you now, but I wasn't clear exactly what the situation is there between concrete and asphalt on the sidewalks. But I just wanted to say, I live on Highland Avenue. That street has been in absolute chaos since pretty much the beginning of the summer when they did the culvert over by the golf course. But I cannot speak highly enough of the work that's been done. The people at the Caracas company, those people work really hard. They come around and talk to you. If you go out and ask them questions, they will listen, they will come, they will look at what your concern is, they will show you the map. They were wonderful. I sent videos of these people to my 5-year-old grandson, who likes to look at them before he goes to bed, because we are talking about big equipment. Our house literally shakes. It was shaking just this week when the Tom Walker's group was putting in a new culvert, practically one
Down by
house
the
down
golf
from
course.
us.
Yeah.
You know, literally the glasses in the cupboard are going clinkety, clinkety, clink. But they were very careful to allow us to get by on the street. I just felt like they did a really professional job, and I just want to say thank you to everybody that set that up, and to the sewer commission, and to the select board and everybody. I kind of wish that Caracas was coming back to do the sidewalk. I know they didn't win the bid, because those people work like a team, and they do not stand around and go, oh, I think we need another supervisor to stand around over here. They just work and work and work. So anyway, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Patter. Really, really appreciate the use of time and description. Okay, topics not reasonably anticipated, committee.
And to Tom Walker, I should have said.
Of course, yeah.
And that whole group.
Too many, yep.
I have something for the 48 hours, because I just learned about it today in the meeting. So
No, the 48 hours is not urgent stuff. If you could just talk to me or Andrea about that afterwards. It's not, it's
Okay,
really for stuff that affects the whole board, like if we had to sign something at the last minute.
This is something that affects the whole board, because I was voted to be a part of the regional EMS thing, and I asked multiple times about it, and then I just heard from you that there was a meeting last week, and I was never notified.
You were on the list, and he gave us like a month's notice.
I was never notified, though.
You were on the list. Okay, I can give you a total update afterwards, or you can talk to Matt. That's the other thing. If Matt is always available. Reappointment. Can I get a motion to reappoint Bruce Kahn as an election officer, term expiring August 15th, 2026?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you, Mr. Kahn. Announcements. Woohoo! Look at this. Public shredding event here at Town Hall on October 3rd, hosted by Neighbors at Home.
That's from 10 to noon, right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's in the,
Yeah.
there's a flyer in there. I'm going to take advantage of that. Doesn't cost anything, so it's free.
And Neighbors at Home is that group that people can join, either request to be served by or join to volunteer, and they'll come to your
Yeah.
house and take care of different things. So this is a way for them to help the community as a whole.
Yep, and thank you for saying that. We appreciate it. And I think the instructions are that you just load everything up in your trunk, and you don't even have to get out of your car. We talked about the Monster Dash on October 25th, and Pints for Programs Thank you to the 4-Star again. Pints for programs to benefit the senior center at the brewery, 4-Star Farm, October 10th, 6 to 8. Raffles and music. If you went to the one last year, the raffles were incredible. I think Terry McKeon.
Terry's, I think, playing.
Is he and his band doing? Yep.
Playing.
Will be the musical. Upcoming information sessions for the proposed 6-town regional agreement at Dickinson Memorial Library on Saturday, October 18th, 10 a.m. and Thursday, October 30th, 6 p.m. All that information is on 6townsplural.org.
And you will be getting a postcard.
Oh, they're sending out a postcard too.
That's
Great.
going in the mail sometime.
Okay.
And we also have a town meeting, just discussed, the town meeting information session is on Wednesday, the 29th.
Right. And we'll add all that back in at our next meeting when we do announcements. The library dog show is on Saturday too, FYI. So
That's a holiday at your house, right?
That's always fun. I get to be a judge with Misha and Kim Berry, so
You're gonna wanna go.
Yeah, you're going to see
it's a hoot. And I hope Chief Hall is going to do the emceeing this year. He was funny last year. He's got a whole new career as somebody on the microphone. Recognition for service. Congratulations to Stacy Bond for receiving recognition at the Franklin County Chamber of Commerce United Way of Franklin and Hampshire Region and the, I don't know what CBIZ is. Is that the Chamber of Commerce Business Group?
Yep.
It's the Unsung Heroes Breakfast. She was surprised, along with a few other people from the region, with a superhero cape. They each got a cape that says superhero on the back. I think the Greenfield Recorder has put pictures and things like.
Hope she wears it to summer camp.
She was recognized by a local business who has really appreciated how the Rec Commission has stepped up and organized different events that support the businesses and get the businesses involved across the town. So congratulations to Stacy. We're very proud.
She deserves it.
Yeah. So now, can I get a motion to enter executive session for, number 1, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 3, Smith property, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares. The chair so declares. And number 2, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 6, Emergency Services Location Real Estate, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate if the chair declares that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body. I so declare. And this is not to return to open session.
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
And now we need
Dan
to do a
Campbell
roll
says
call.
yes.
David McCarthy, yes.
Bernie Boudreau, yes.
B, yes.
Sarah, yes.
Okay, thanks everyone. Oh, and we're off.